multiple times when I work with clients and we go through my brain screening and have like an initial call to go through like what actually is going on, is we talk about brain function. And so many people have actually said, like, I thought my brain was functioning in an optimal way. And that just stress that was coming through every single day with building my business and all these sorts of things was actually, hang on, is that working? Yep, that's working. Um, the stress that was coming on in my business was just this normal reaction from the body that everyone goes through. Well, one of the things that has been obvious over the years that I've seen when it comes to things with our health is too many times we see things that are common as normal. You get stressed, you have brain fog. You get older, you have poor joints. You get older, you're going to put on weight. You're going to have less brain function. You're going to have all these different things going on. Certain things like the common cold. It's called the common cold, not the normal cold. It isn't a normal thing to get it, but it is so common, we just pass it off as normal. When it's a sign that our body is under a lot of stress and a lot of issues could be going on deeper down. Similar things such as waking during the night. It's common to wake during the night to go to the toilet. And so many people think it's so common that it is actually normal. It is not. It is a sign that your body is under stress and you are not performing as optimally as you could. Now, there are certain things I'm going to quickly go through on this live regarding your brain health that you could be, and I'll go through each one individually, you could be suffering from to show you that your brain is not functioning as optimally as it could. Now, the first one being brain fog. I'll just quickly go through the list and then I'll go through each one in a little bit more depth. Brain fog, low brain endurance, slow and varied mental speeds, low brain function after high levels of stress or trauma, low brain function if you have trained really hard. Those two could probably go together. Poor brain function after eating or potentially being very energized after eating and then crashing. More fatigue when you are exposed to certain chemicals. Bloatedness for no particular reason. And struggling to wake up even when you have had loads of sleep. So let's go through each one individually and just have a little bit of a sentence or two on each one just to actually say what they are. The first one being brain fog. And we hear brain fog talked about multiple times, and I see it all the time. I've launched my Brain Fog Blitz, my high-level elite coaching program to really get to the bottom of it. But what actually is brain fog? Now, every single person is going to have a different view of brain fog. And what I describe it is that you feel like you want to push forward with your day, but you just suddenly have this kind of blurry vision that you can't break through. You can't, you know, you need to do something, but for some reason you just stop and you don't do it. Or you're trying to think of something and you can't think of it. You're trying to string your sentences together and you can't string your sentences together. Or you try just remembering things. All these certain things add up and class what I would say as brain fog. When I described it to a client and she said, is it like, I know I need to run forward, but there's just like, I keep hitting this brick wall face on. I said, yeah, that's basically what brain fog is. And so many people go through brain fog that they think it is just normal. And usually brain fog gets better or worse with some of the other symptoms that are going on. The next one being low brain endurance. And that slow and varied mental speeds, they're kind of linked in together. So I'll go through those at the same time. And that is that where that you just feel you have too much on your plate. You can't take anything else on. And when you try and take something else on, you get more and more frustrated. You're going through a launch in your business, or you're going to have to arrange this big event, or you're going to arrange a wedding or a birthday party or something. And you just, everything just seems too much. And then one day you just feel really sluggish and you need to have more time off. Another day you think, oh, I'm absolutely on it. And then you smash through things and then suddenly crash. You get very varied mental speeds and you just cannot concentrate for the times you used to. So you start reading a book and then you need to read the page again and read the page again and read the page again. and it just doesn't seem to go in. Or you're listening to a podcast, you're listening to a webinar, and you think, what's actually going on? I didn't actually hear any of that, even though I was directly listening to it. And you just have to keep repeating yourself over and over again. Your mind just starts drifting off. And that's where we get onto low brain function after trauma. Now, linking this one in with training hard as well, trauma is different for every single person. We've heard of stories over the last year of people getting PTSD after the C word. After that, we don't want to get the video taken down or anything like that. People getting PTSD after that word, and more fatigue, long C word, like going on, all these different things. And other trauma as well, losing a loved one, just going through extreme stress, personal circumstances. I've had a client that has gone through very, very extreme personal circumstances, which weren't a fault of her own, but it then involved a legal case. And luckily, the legal case came through positive in her favor in a good way, but she still had to go through that trial, still had to go through the actual initial horrible act that this person put onto her. And that trauma impacted her brain function as a result. And I would not wish that on my worst enemy, but it's just showing you that going through this trauma can hit your mental speed, hit your mental clarity, your brain function. And it's similar as well that when people train too hard, hence why when I say I'm an anti-beast mode advocate, most of the people I work with are stressed out to the point where we do not push hard in the gym. And in fact, I had a session today with one of my best mates, and I used to train him back in the day. Super, super successful guy, hasn't trained for a while. I said, look, you can come in, we'll train. You are not going to train hard. You're not going to go to the powerlifting style that you used to, because that will not serve you, because that will then impact the rest of your day, because your brain function will drop. Your body needs to recover. I do not see the point in that. When we look at overall balance of health and moving forward, yes, there's specific training that I used to do for bodybuilding training, which was not healthy for me right then. And to be fair, I wouldn't even put most people through that sort of training, but I had to then build up my body afterwards. And I would not even think about that sort of intensity, that sort of training anymore. The next one we go on to is poor brain function after you eat your food. Now, this is usually a sign of poor blood glucose management. I'm certain you've heard me talk about blood glucose management before, but poor brain function after you eat your food, or suddenly you just get energized and crash, these sorts of things. Now, eating your food, as ironic as this sounds, is not supposed to give you energy. It's not supposed to change the way you feel. When I say give you energy, I mean make you feel more energized or sluggish or anything like that. Eating your food gives you energy in the form of calories. Yes, absolutely. Energy stores. But you shouldn't eat food and then feel really energized or really sluggish or anything like that. You should just be pretty steady throughout the day with consistent energy that then when you get towards the evening, you are able to switch off and go to sleep. If food is having an issue with your body, if food is making you feel sluggish or anything like that, then there is a sign that there is other things going on, some inflammation within your body, usually neurologically, usually problems with blood glucose management, and we have to work on that. Then we get onto chemicals. Now, I live in East Anglia, in Norfolk, one of the most sprayed places in the UK, one of the most toxic air qualities in the UK. Now, it's actually known for farming. We don't have a really, really high population. Everyone seems to be spread out. But we have a lot of exposures to chemicals. And just because you're in the countryside does not mean it is healthy. Yes, in a city might be a bit worse with diesel fumes. Diesel fumes impacting detoxification and going through methylation and all these different things there. But you have to be aware of the chemical exposures that you are getting day to day. Do you get a sniffly nose when someone sprays deodorant or perfumes or something like that? Are you really sensitive to chemicals? Are you really sensitive to smells? Do you get itchy? Do you get eczema? All these different things. They're signs that the body is under inflammation and the brain will be under a severe amount of inflammation. And remember, your brain is signaling everything else that's going on in the body. And that is something to bear in mind. So if you then suffer from the next thing, the bloatedness side of things, you want to look at all the other things and the other symptoms that are going on, because bloatedness is a reaction. I've seen so many posts recently that say that bloating is normal. It's not normal. It's common, very, very common. Remember back to what I said, just because something is common does not make it normal. It's a reaction that your body is under an amount of stress that we need to look deeper at the actual cause. Because if you're bloated, you're then going to potentially feel sluggish. You're then going to potentially have low moods. You're then going to want to have more sleep. There's going to be bad skin and all the confidence levels potentially go down. And you're going to be leaving money on the table with your business because you're not going to be showing up as the person that you truly need to be, because your body is your business. So if you are bloating and it's getting frustrating, it's not as simple necessarily to do a food intolerance test. For starters, if there's an underlying autoimmune condition going on or an immune reaction, this can mask those tests so you don't get the results that are actually accurate throughout the body. If we even have an accurate test in the first place, because most of the ones that are actually going through the IgG or IgE responses, or the immune responses, aren't going to be the most accurate. And that is something we have to bear in mind, because I see people saying, oh, just a finger prick, and you have a blood test, and that tells you these foods that you're going to be reactive to. They're not the most accurate. Save your money. Test your blood glucose levels, get that steady, and then look at the stresses going on elsewhere in your life. And unfortunately, what a lot of people I see now is that, oh, you're not reactive to gluten, you're not reactive to dairy, you're not reactive to these foods. You can be reactive to many, many different foods, and that can change. The same with chemicals. Exposure to those chemicals, you could become reactive to them. So we have to look a little bit deeper into them. And yes, gluten is one of the most reactive foods, but not the glutenin, the gliadin protein that we are very reactive to. And the ways it's reactive to potentially could be on your brain. It could be on your gut, which is like the most common one that people see, but also on your skin and other organs. So it's not just the bloatedness side of things. That gluten could be causing your brain fog. And as much as I would love to say it is just made up for marketing reasons, yes, the gluten-free, the free-from side of things has gone completely the other way. And having gluten-free items, which are processed foods, and then added a lot more chemicals, could do more harm than good. That unfortunately, bread might be causing you some issues. So if you don't want to be leaving money on the table in your business, if you don't want to be feeling bloated, to be feeling sluggish, to be feeling lethargic and have all these things going on, then you may have to cut out bread. But newsflash, there are thousands of different other foods. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I love nachos. Absolutely love nachos. But the way I feel after having nachos, I used to put on my profile like pro nacho eater. And every time I went out to a restaurant, I put on social media that I was having nachos. Wasn't good for me. I remember going to New York a couple of years ago, and I had nachos when we got there on the Friday. There was like breakfast nachos with like scrambled eggs and loads of cheese and all this other stuff. I had nachos like 4 times over the weekend. Tasted amazing. Then I got a migraine. Add that to the jet lag coming home. I got another migraine and had 5 total migraines that week, because even though there wasn't any gluten, there was a lot of processed food in there. There was a lot of dairy in there, and also corn, which are the actual chips, the tortilla chips made from corn, is a cross-reactive to gluten. And then we have things like instant coffee is a cross-reactive to gluten. Things like red wine, depending on how they're stored, usually they're in barrels with wheat paste on there. They can be a cross-reactive to gluten. The body can actually, there's a thing called molecular mimicry, where your body actually reacts to certain foods like the way it would a tissue within the body. Taking a lot of science and a lot of explanation out of it with that. But these things do go on, and they can happen with so many different foods. So when you see someone, the fitness professional, saying, oh, just have calories in versus calories out, and you need to eat less to lose weight and all this stuff, there are many other things going on within our body that we have to look deeper into if we really truly want to be healthy. And also, you can be fit without being healthy, fit for a certain purpose. When I competed in bodybuilding 7 times, I was not healthy, but I was very fit for competing in the bodybuilding on the bodybuilding stage for that specific purpose. And we really should look at taking that into account when we look at overall health. And yes, unfortunately, you can be very reactive to certain foods. And we have to do some underlying work, because unless you like being bloated, unless you like being lethargic, you like having brain fog, you like having variations in your mental speed, we're going to need to cut some of those foods out. And people say to me, but I don't want to be restrictive. Honestly, is keeping a food in there helping you or not? Or is taking that food out of the way restrictive? Or is leaving that in restricting your life because it's making you feel not 100%? That's a question I would look at. And then the last one we go into on here is, are you struggling to wake up and feel energized, feeling ready to take on the day? And again, that looks at brain function, overall variations in mental speed, blood glucose management, overall stress, inflammation. It all combines into one. Are you waking up during the night? Is your sleep not restorative? And we can look deeper into these things. But if you're having brain fog, if you're having variations in your mental speed and low brain endurance, if you're getting low brain function after high stress events in your life or high hard training sessions, poor brain function after eating and variations in your mental speed after eating, more fatigue when you are around certain chemicals, bloatedness for no specific reason, or you struggle to wake up and feel energized and have a real good night's sleep, then you probably want to look deeper into your brain function to see what is truly going on. Because as I've said before, and I will say it again over and over again, your body is your business. Without a sustainable body, you haven't got a sustainable or scalable business. So you're really going to want to look deeper into, why is your brain, because that's the control center of your whole body, why is that not firing the way you need it to fire? I see people stressed out with their business. You can really improve your mental function and your mental capacity and your overall health. And honestly, anything people pay for coaching will end up paying for itself when you look at what actually comes back in your life, not just your business, your relationships, your self-confidence, your pride, all this stuff, your health. Everything is going to be improved when you start taking care of your health and push that little bit more. So hopefully this video has been very good for you and you've got some good information out of it. If you need any help on this, drop me a message and I will talk to you further, just to see if you're a fit to work with me on a one-to-one basis to really level up your health right now. Have an awesome day and thank you.